We've got advocate for personal development and hopeful romantic, self-proclaimed hopeful romantic, and author Bruna Nessif in to discuss how to start the new year off if you're looking for forgiveness, for healing, and understanding love. Well, we cheers with our nightcap, Let That Shit Go Prosecco, tonight on It's Complicated.
You're listening to It's Complicated with your hosts Jennifer Golden and Lauren Leonelli, coming to you live from the AfterBuzz TV studios in Los Angeles, California.
Hello, Master Daters. Welcome back for another episode of It's Complicated.
The struggle is real when you're dating in the city.
I'm Jen.
And I'm not Jen. Still.
Still makes me laugh.
It's still good.
I just love it.
I mean, sometimes being you means not being somebody else.
I think that's actually very true. I think that is the definition, actually. You being you is not someone else.
It's just perspective, everyone.
Exactly. It's another way of saying you're Lauren. It's just being not Jen.
Jen.
By process of elimination.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not me.
Right.
So cool. I love that. Lesson learned, everybody.
Yep.
Guys, tonight we've got advocate for personal development, self-proclaimed hopeful romantic, and author Bruna Nessif in to discuss how to start your year with forgiveness, healing, and understanding love. Because obviously it's the beginning of the year and we want to kick it off right.
We want to kick it off right. We want to make sure that we're all off to a good start. And we think we have the perfect guest for that, guys, because Bruna Nessif is the author of Let That Shit Go, A Journey to Forgiveness, Healing, and Understanding Love, and founder of the website The Problem with Dating. Hello.
So many.
A multimedia platform that provides entertaining yet thoughtful pieces about love. If you have not checked it out, you guys must, because there are some real good rants on there that I love. I'm calling them rants because it's Bruna just like speaking her mind, and she's fucking awesome. Anyway, she talks about love, dating, self-reflection, and spiritual growth. Her written work has been featured on multiple publications like, I don't know, E! News, Playboy, Huffington Post, Cosmo, Esquire, and Bravo. My personal favorite. She is also a certified life coach for her High Conscious Living and Energy Leadership Index Master Practitioner, focusing on helping women regain their self-love and tap into their full potential. Like all of the things we need.
All of the things.
Yeah.
That's why we got her here for you guys. It's our gift to you.
And really for us.
Really for us.
But we'll share.
Yeah, we will. And also, guys, before we get into everything, it's time for a nightcap, the Let That Shit Go Prosecco.
Yeah.
Because, again, we are kicking off our year with a clean slate and celebrating what's to come. So pop that top and let that shit go. And also, we're celebrating Lauren's engagement.
Oh, my God.
With flowers and, again, champagne, obviously. Because
they're so pretty. Thank you.
Yes.
They're like seriously beyond gorgeous. I think my wedding bouquet might look like that.
That was the inspiration, actually, for these, because I stalked the shit out of you on Pinterest, and I was like, she must be posting something somewhere.
Oh, my God. I would have loved any flowers, obviously.
Well, I was trying to be romantic. And
see, we are soulmates.
We are.
I always want to say friend mate, and then that sounds dumb. Like it doesn't connect.
Well, I was thinking about that too on my drive here as I was writing your card out loud to myself because I was in traffic, and I was like, best friend mate or soul friend mate. Like one.
Oh, right.
Like all the words have to be together, otherwise.
Soulmate. Yeah, but then it's like friend and soulmate. They're like standalones. And when you try to put them together,
it doesn't roll off the tongue.
Friend, soulmate, it doesn't sound like you're, like it's not Brangelina enough.
No, somebody needs to be creativer than us.
It's just like Brad and Angelina, friend, soulmate. It needs to be Brangelina.
There's other words out there. If you're listening or watching and you have a better idea for what we can rebrand ourselves as, please do send it over.
We clearly have no fucking ideas, so give us some. Thanks.
Anyway.
You guys, so we're drinking this drink because it's also gonna help us let it go, I think.
Oh, yeah.
The night that I got engaged, I was nervous that it was happening, and I drank some wine, and then I let that shit go. And then it happened.
Yeah.
But I was like nervous that it was going to happen. And so, anyway. So speaking of that, I am trying to start wedding planning. And I feel like it's one of those things where you go to make a decision, like I'm going to do this first, but then you feel like you can't because like 8 other things behind it haven't happened yet.
Like what?
Like, I want to do it here. Okay, but what if that place doesn't have it's a certain amount of people it holds? Okay, so then obviously you doctor your list. But okay, so also, oh shit, I need to go try on a dress because that could take like 8 months, and I don't want to take like 4 years to get married. But then like, well, that's also gonna be dictated by the time of year and the place, potentially, not totally, but like partially. So like, what do you have to pick the place first? Do you have to pick the dress first? Do you have
Very
to do the
chicken and
It's
egg.
like, I can't.
Well, so wait, do you want to get married in 2019 or 2020?
Yeah, I think 2019 is a good way to go.
Okay, so this year we're getting married.
Yeah, we are.
We are.
You and I.
Yeah. And James can come too. That's cool.
He can come if he wants.
He can officiate.
He can just,
It'd be really funny if we invited people to your wedding, but it was like, surprise, it's actually our wedding. And James,
And then
remember when you proposed to me?
I did propose to you. What if we, in the middle of the ceremony, then you came up and we said vows to each other?
I think that would be only fair.
I mean, it makes
Or
sense.
I just go up there and whisper your vows to you.
Oh, that's what. That's it.
I make her birthday wishes for her.
Yeah,
so.
I need help. When it's like comes to things like that, I need help. So I'm gonna have you help me.
But also between now and then we've got some time, so we'll just draft and redraft and all the things.
Yeah, yes, I like that. Yeah. And you are still
recovering from Vegas, guys. So I did New Year's and then I did second New Year's.
Oh
basically.
my God, I didn't even think about it like that.
And then I thought about my nail choice, my nail polish, and it's like, it looks like New Year's with a side of Vegas happened to my hands.
It does.
With a side of Basketball Wives.
Yeah, it's all of those things.
Anyway, so I went to Vegas with a bunch of girls, and it was a really fun time. Everything was like given to us, and it was like the royal treatment.
Of course.
And we went to afternoon tea at the Waldorf Astoria, and we did all these things, dinners and brunches.
Who set that up.
Yeah, well, you know, someone over here likes a good afternoon tea. I'm just 97 years old.
I mean, in Vegas, she goes to fucking afternoon tea. I would have
the
been like
Waldorf
pouring
Astoria.
whiskey in my tea. Or
Okay,
something.
well, I did that after. It was like,
I mean,
from one meal to one drinks to a meal to a drinks, and then a towel. Don't ask. I don't even know what happened.
I mean,
to me.
it must have been a nice break, though.
It was a lot of fun, and when things are just like very easy and being like presented to you, you just do it because it's easy.
Yeah,
it's not like work, and not like the normal Vegas where like you have to plan stuff.
Well,
and
that's the
it's just-
thing, and that is fine. But when we get her in here, that's like an issue that we're going to talk about that has to do with sex.
totes. Oh yes.
When it's easy and just getting handed to you, you just do it. But maybe you should be a little more conscious about it, or maybe not.
Maybe you
Whatever the
should.
choice is, it's fine.
Speaking of sex, I went to see Magic Mike, and that was a really good time.
Oh my God.
We were front row. And I am like, I have to tell the story, and sorry if you guys follow me on Instagram and already heard it, but too fucking bad.
It's so good.
So I'm sitting there, and I'm like sort of toward the end of the group that I was with, and somebody's like kneeling over, and he looks like a server, so sounds like a server, smells like a server. Fucking duck. So I'm like, oh hi, and he's like, hey, and I'm like, we're thirsty, we need some champagne, and he's like, oh, you haven't been served yet. I'm like, no, champagne was what we'd want, right? Everybody, champagne. He's like, okay, I'll make sure to send over your server. I go, what are you? You look like a server. You're a server. He's like, I'll send over your server, and he like wouldn't say like anything other than the script, and only to come to find out he's fucking Mike of Magic Mike. He's the star of the show, and I'm asking him for champagne.
But why was he next to you, though?
Because he was kneeling before he was jumping on the stage, and it was like part of the whole thing, because Magic Mike is a really like I was gonna say interpretive dance. It's not that at all.
It's like telling a story through
interactive.
Oh, okay.
Interactive, guys. It's interactive. There's like people that come out of the audience that you think are like audience members, but they're really part of the show, and all this stuff's happening.
Plants. They're called
Them.
plants.
So he was a plant, basically, as like a server that needed to learn how to become a dancer.
Then he gets that all the time, though.
I'm sure, but I don't think anyone probably took it as seriously as I did, because I was like, okay, write it down
You're
on
like,
your pad of paper, sir.
Why are you not? You took it.
Wouldn't
the
let it
extra
go.
Step.
I wouldn't let go.
Wow.
And then he jumps on stage, and then throughout the entire show was winking at me, and like he and I had like a whole rapport. I was like,
was he hot?
Totally, and just a really nice guy, actually, because he was like nice about me being an idiot. So
Well,
anyway, then he wrote me on Instagram, and he's going to come on our show. So moral of the story is, tip your waiter.
And stay tuned for Magic Mike sometime in the near future.
Ryan Carlson will be coming on the show.
It will be magical.
Quick question from a guy perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you be okay dating a stripper?
Well, he's not a stripper.
Yeah, so then I went down a rabbit hole because I'm like, should I date this person that was so fun with me during the show? Maybe I should marry him. I don't know. And also I said things that were so outlandish during the entire show. If you were sitting next to me, you were dying and crying because I was like telling everybody to marry me. And then I was also hiding from them because I was scared of them because I was like, are they going to call me up on stage? Anyway, they're not strippers. They are actually really trained dancers that have like toured the country and maybe the world. No, they're not. They're actually
Thunder
like
from Down Under.
They're like center stage trained
they are
dancers.
very good dancers. Yeah,
I had to know everything about them. I'm like, are they like single dads that have to put their kids through school? No, they're really fucking trained dancers.
No, but they might also be single dads.
Oh, and this one happens to be the guy who plays Mike.
He's a really for realsies.
Yeah, but also and most beautiful daughter ever on his Instagram if you want to check it out. But anyway, the point is they're trained dancers and they are not strippers at all. So
and you'd be fine with them professionally flirting with women all night.
It's like an actor.
Yeah, they have to. I mean, I don't know that I would date a Magic Mike person, but many of them are in relationships. Again, I went down a rabbit hole.
I feel like you would be, Jeff, if they weren't assholes. And I mean, I think he could be a fucking lawyer, and if he was made you nobody's responsible for making you feel a certain way. But if he acted in ways that were like fishy or red flaggy, then you wouldn't like that, regardless of their job.
I mean, the thing is, they have to go home at some point. The show ends, and then like they go home. So I would hope that they go straight there, or that their significant other maybe meets them out to celebrate a great show. I have a feeling it's like any profession.
I think that there's ways to make that relationship feel like a secure one, no matter it, even though you're like it's kind of sexual.
Although, you guys get it because you're actors and you're in this business too. Entertainment has different rules.
True.
Yeah. I mean, he could have gotten a little like sassier with me, but like we messaged about him coming on the show. Like, you know, I feel like he kept it professional. Maybe he's got a girlfriend. I have no idea. Or maybe he's just plotting to marry me. I don't know.
Oh, guys. Plotting. I like that.
It's always mischievous.
It's a plan.
Yeah.
Oh.
So anyhow, maybe he'll be my date to your wedding.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's right. I'm campaigning now for a date.
Oh, okay, great. That's what we're going to focus on now, guys.
Yeah.
Campaigning for a date, 2019, Lauren and James's wedding. No idea where or when.
And we need a hashtag. So write in and let us know.
Oh, yeah. What should our wedding hashtag be?
That's a whole other thing. I don't know. When I was doing research.
Fair and Ellie?
No.
Oh, because it has to be like
a pun.
What the fuck?
Like, I don't
jump
know.
on the Ferris wheel.
Oh my God.
His last name is Ferris. I don't know. Jeff, start thinking. Everyone start thinking.
Challenging. Okay.
I mean, there's like an app that generates them.
Oh no, that's what I found when I was stalking you and your flowers.
Yeah,
and
it's like anyway. All right.
The fairest of them all.
Oh,
Lauren is the fairest of them all.
That is cute. Although I'm not sure if I'm going to take his name.
Well, it doesn't matter. The hashtag.
Yeah,
can
but the
be.
hashtag.
The
is
fairest of all. That's cute.
Very cute, but spelled.
Wait, did you say fairy?
Fairest.
Oh,
No.
Very cute.
Oh, no, I didn't. But that's also very cute.
I'm gonna have fun with this.
Yes, we are.
We can't even name ourselves, let alone your hashtag.
I will just be not Jen. Do you, James, take not Jen to be your
I'll be like, thank God, yes, I take not Jen.
Okay. All right. Well,
if you didn't have a daughter, I would want to be your flower girl.
Oh my God.
But anyway, it's fine.
Maybe you can be.
Oh, perfect.
Because she might not want to be the flower girl. Who knows? It's a whole thing. We'll work that out as we go. We've got time, or not so much time.
Or not time.
I don't know. It's overwhelming. Okay, but we are overwhelmed with excitement because Bruna is here. She is an advocate for personal development, like we said, and I love a self-proclaimed hopeful romantic. That is different than hopeless. Hopeful romantic.
So
welcome
positive.
to the studio, Bruna.
Hi.
Hello.
Welcome.
I'm so obsessed with both of you. I just have to say.
Oh, well, thank you.
That really means a lot
I
because
feel like that means a lot because we haven't done a whole lot. So like it can only go up from here.
No, the energy is like on point.
and we got, and she's a professional in
Yes,
this
right.
field.
I'm a professional, so I mean it. Like,
Right.
it's just,
Well, that was
you
a stamp
know.
of approval. I feel like
We got the Bruna stamp of approval,
shit,
everyone.
guys. Anyway,
Okay,
we're gonna dive right in.
Yeah, we are.
Okay, we've got some very quick questions to ask you, and then
Okay.
like the real questions.
Got it.
Dating app or blind date?
Oh, dating app.
Oh, really?
Okay, coffee or drinks?
Coffee.
Is chivalry dead?
No.
So, like, didn't have to think about any of them.
I love.
Okay, wait,
it.
hold on then.
Now we have to know.
Wait
why.
a second. Now we have to know why. So, why do you
Okay.
prefer dating apps?
Because I like to do my research as well before
Ah.
I invest time in anyone or anything.
Okay, and you feel like the dating apps provide you with that ability?
I mean, a little something. And
Yeah.
like, I'm a journalist, so I can do my own research, even if you just give me a little bit.
Sure.
I can find out.
You can find out so much, even just reverse looking up a phone number. I did that last night. Honestly, I went down that.
Why reverse?
Because if let's say you meet somebody on an app, like not all apps give you last names. Like Bumble, for instance, if you get somebody's phone number because they want to switch to text, that's like the whole thing. You write on the app, then you switch to text, then you meet in person, whatever. If you have the phone number, you can look it up in Google and like anything that's tied to their phone number. If they have it in their email signature, if they have it on their business website, if they have it on
But why
Facebook or
is it
Instagram.
reverse?
Oh, because you get that piece of information first.
Oh, I was like, what are you reversing?
Just my life, really.
Okay. Okay. So it's
My
for
choices.
the research aspect, although you can do it anyway because you're good at that, even without the dating app, which I know I have a couple girlfriends who are like Inspector Gadget.
Many of us are.
Why? Well, we kind of have to be. Why coffee instead of drinks?
Well, one, I'm not a huge drinker.
Oh, that's true.
So there's that. And then also I feel like maybe it's just me, but I feel like coffee takes a little of the weight off. Like when you say drinks, it's kind of like, God, it's nighttime, and then I have to like look super fancy, and then where's it gonna end, and what are we gonna do, and what if I get drunk, and like all this stuff.
Low
and coffee
pressure.
is just
Coffee's,
like,
yeah.
especially for like a first meeting. It's
Wait,
very
but I have a
casual.
question. Can you like do you kiss on the first date? Like if you like somebody and you're vibing with them and they kiss you, like do they kiss you after coffee breath? Do they kiss you like in broad daylight? I don't know how this happens. What happens?
Wow, not sure. If I like the person, I don't think I care.
Okay.
Because if I'm like, you're hot in my
Yeah.
head the whole time, I'm like, I can't wait to kiss you. Bring it on, coffee breath.
Yeah, it
or
doesn't-
usually they'll just pop a gum in after because they're
Yeah.
also anticipating it.
Yeah.
So it's like, thanks for thinking of that.
Yeah, I feel
Yes.
like if you like somebody, it doesn't really matter like where or when. It's sort of like you just want it to happen. So there's like,
I don't know. I don't feel romantic it's kind of like morning sex. Like I don't feel my hottest in the morning in bright lights and like morning breath and like
Right.
I don't know. I mean, just
it's
don't
not,
look at me.
It's
maybe,
not as
but
sexy.
no.
but-
So like I feel like there's something sexy in the darkness and like whining and dining. And I put on makeup maybe, so I
Yeah.
feel like cuter, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, yes, but also if it's someone that I don't know that I want to spend that, it's more intimate, I feel, doing the nighttime thing.
Yeah.
So if I don't know that I want to be in that space with you yet,
You don't want to be
Then I'll
like
do a
locked down
coffee.
to the,
yeah. But if I'm like obsessed with you, let's do it. Like nighttime cocktails, I'll drink. That's fine.
Yeah. Coffee's like a safer bet if
Right.
you're a little unsure.
Right.
Okay. And then why are you so sure that chivalry is not dead because you're a hopeful romantic? What does that mean?
Just because I've experienced it, and because I'm a hopeful romantic, I don't want to say it's dead and then that everything's like doomed.
Then you're not hopeful.
Right. So I feel like it's not dead. I have plenty of guy friends who are very chivalrous. I feel like it's more so just lacking. You know, it's just not as apparent and happening as often as it used to.
It wasn't as big of a trend for a while. It felt like very 1950s. And then now it is,
Bring it
some
back.
men have said it's a little confusing because
Yeah.
of like the equality, Me Too, women's rights movements and things that they're not sure if they're offending somebody or not. I don't think a lot of men feel that way, but there's definitely a fair amount that are
Yeah.
still unsure if they do something like chivalrous that it's not. I'm not on that. I think it's nice when my fiance, I know.
Weird.
He opens the door every single time, the car door for me, always does stuff like that. So it's not
sweet.
dead, but yeah, I mean, and I'm
It's
not
just not consistent.
It's not consistent.
And it's not a general thing. Okay, so I've been watching like The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, and like it's from the whatever 19s, and everything back then was so like courting
Yep.
and very formal, and like after like 4 dates you were like potentially getting engaged. Like I don't know if you had sex or you didn't, or you made out or you didn't. I don't even, you just have like the things that check off on the list, like a job, a family, you want to live in a certain, I don't know.
Yeah.
It was much easier back then and much more respectful, I feel like, because people's goal was like graduate high school,
family.
start a family, get out of your parents' house, do what you got to do, and
Go
that's
from
what
house to house.
right.
Right.
So
Yeah.
like, just I think we should make
There's not a lot of philandering
relationships
in
great
between.
again,
Yeah.
and go back to the old timey
Oh
times.
my God.
Make relationships great again. If I could ever say
You
it
know
properly.
what?
Let's make that our thing.
We should hashtag that and put it on a shirt, and then
You heard it
can
here
buy
first.
It.
You can buy it like love. Can you buy it?
Well, it can't buy
can.
me. Yeah, you can.
Back in the older timey times when you had an arranged marriage and you had to give a dowry, you could buy love.
That is
with 7 cows.
very true. Oh, and listen, those came in handy sometimes.
Yeah, you make milk.
Okay, so Bruna, what is your current relationship status?
Single.
And ready to mingle.
Very ready.
Okay, how is your relationship status different right now than it was in 2018? Because you were single then too, correct?
Yes, single by definition.
Oh.
What that
Was it complicated?
You got some splaining to
It
do.
was complicated. I was single by definition, but not single emotionally.
Okay.
It was a situationship.
Okay.
Oh no. Does that mean like long distance or like one of you wanted more and one of you was not as ready for more? Let's
Yes,
put it.
the
Got it.
latter. And
Okay.
so it was like one of those situations where I obviously really liked a guy and I cared about him, and I told myself that I was single and totally ready to just like meet the next love of my life or whatever, but he was still in the back of my mind. So it was very much like blocking anything new that was coming into my life.
For sure.
So yeah, it was one of those just like no labels, very gray, but clearly made an impact on my love life.
Did you decide that for yourself that was preventing you from really getting what you wanted out of a fulfilling, whatever your idea was of a fulfilling relationship? And did you put a halt to it or make a change for yourself, or was it the other way around? Was it him?
It was one of those kind of back and forth type of things where I knew where he stood, but I didn't want to accept the reality of the situation. And so anytime I saw a glimmer of hope or like, oh, maybe he changed his mind, I was like, yes, let's do it. And he's like, no, nothing's changed. You know, whether he said it or not, it was through actions and effort and just like realizing what was going on. And so actually at the top of the year, it was one of those things where I was like, I need to cut this completely.
Like the top of this year.
The top of last year.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah. And so from that time, there were guys that I was talking to and whatever, but I just still wasn't emotionally ready to just bring someone else into the picture.
Is that why you then wrote Let That Shit Go? Like, how did that come about?
That happened. So I started writing that roughly 3 years ago. And that came from a bunch of things, mainly people being like, when are you going to write a book? And I was like, about what? So I realized that there were certain patterns that I was noticing in my love life and the guys that I was attracting and the things that I was just allowing into my life. And I was like, okay, this is something. Like, let's talk about specific relationships I've had in my past, what I've learned, what I've realized about myself, what I'm just not acknowledging as far as like my lack of self-love and how that was playing a role in my love life. And so it was a bunch of different guys from my past, including that one person. But that was the idea of the book kind of grew as time went on because I was growing with it. And then it finally became what it was, which...
It sounds so personal, what you just said, but your book, it's very relatable. Like,
yeah,
you found, I'm sure, through self-discovery and like self-reflection that these things patterns that you were noticing and all of these things were very specific to you, but you had to have known from just being observant and having girlfriends and guy friends that they probably express similar issues. Maybe it manifested itself slightly different, but for the most part, like, other people can relate to these issues, these patterns, this lack of self-love for yourself or whatever. So like, it makes sense to write a book and share because it's your personal experience, but it's really kind of like everyone goes, everything you just said, I'm like, yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was
that's why
crazy.
we created a show, basically, because of the same thing. We're like, we're going through all the things, and we don't want to sit down and write a book, so let's make a podcast.
I mean, we could write a book, but this
We
just
could.
happened first because we're like, we talk so much.
Talking is our strength.
And you're great at what you do.
Thanks.
Oh, thank you.
No, but yeah, it's funny because in retrospect, yes, everything you just said is true. But prior to, when I was just thinking about writing a book and what it would be about, and even my website, The Problem with Dating, and the content I would put on there was very, for the most part, generic. Like, I wouldn't get too deep into my personal life. I wouldn't give too much away. And it was partially because I was like, that's my personal stuff. Like, who cares other than me? Like, who cares? And then I wrote one post about my last relationship, and he was an alcoholic. And so I put that out there, and the response was so strong.
Massive.
That I was just like, okay, maybe this is a thing. So I realized through the process of the book that our experiences do overlap a lot of the time. And although they're very unique to us because they're ours and no one's going to have an identical situation, the overarching themes and messages and lessons that you learn are very similar to other people, and that's what they relate to. And it's nice to read someone else's story and resonate with it and realize I'm not alone in this experience.
Because other people are feeling the same way.
Right. And no one talks about it.
Nobody talks. It's almost like the more personal you get, the more relatable it is.
Yeah.
And you think in your head, like, no one's going to care. Whatever story you tell yourself, yours was no one's going to care. This is my shit. Some people are going to be like, I'm going to be judged. People are going to think I'm so, whatever your ego is telling you. But it's like, as soon as you just, you're so honest. Like, I love your post about, forgiving. If you ask someone to be honest and then they are, like, how do you deal with that? Because I was like,
how do you deal with that? Because you're asking. That's why I always say when someone comes to me for my opinion, I'm like, do you want the truth or you want an ear?
Well, what? Okay,
like, do you want me to just listen to you, or do you want to know what I have to actually say? But
nobody is gonna like answer on. I mean, if someone's like, no, I just want an ear, like, who fucking says that? Everyone says no, I just want you to be honest, and then you are, and then it can offend somebody, and then, like, what do? You said in your post, like, I have had to, like, take some time, or you gave an example, like, you can walk away and come back if you don't want to be reactive, because you don't want to teach the person, I just asked you to be honest with me, and now I'm punishing you, and that's a bad but then, like, what if you walk away too? Is that like punishing them? And I was like, I don't know how to do that, because if you tell me something that offends me and then I'm like in my head about it, I'm like, fuck.
Well, I have something to say about this, because I think about this too all the time, because everyone does have an opinion. What is it? Everyone's an asshole and everyone has an opinion, or something like that. Whatever.
Assholes are like opinions. Opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one.
Exactly.
I think, did I say
so?
That? Yeah.
This is why I have been specifically careful about presenting my opinion, because, like, when people give me their opinion, I don't always want it. It's more just I'm venting, or like that kind of thing, or like you ask me what happened and I tell you the answer, versus I'm now asking for your advice.
Sure.
There was no like comma, what do you think?
No.
So
Right.
don't fucking give it to me.
Right.
Because I also don't necessarily think what you do with your life is that constructive. So at the same time, instead of punishing someone, evaluate who they are and say thank you because you care about me and I appreciate your love and support, or whatever the hell you might have. And then make your own choices.
Take it with a grain of salt. But if you're specifically asking somebody, how do you, like, what? I mean, you on your post, you give great examples. But for people listening, like, what do you do if you're with your significant other? Like, I have a question to ask you. Please be honest. And then you really are offended. Like, what do you do?
Yeah, that's tricky. And the funny thing is that came up in a conversation with guy friends of mine, because they brought that to me. They're like, women always ask us to be honest, and then we're honest with them, and then you punish us for being honest. So it's like, why would I be honest with you? And I sat there and I was like, whoa, you make so much sense right now, because I know I've done that in my past.
Ugh.
So part of it is, it's both sides, right? So if one side is asking for the opinion, which you make a great point about, make sure they're actually asking for it. Don't just give unsolicited opinions, because it's like, then you're automatically on the defense.
Sure.
No one asked you. Like, keep it to yourself. So if they ask for it, make sure, or if you ask for it, make sure you actually want to know. Like, don't just ask for validation. Don't just ask in hopes that they're going to tell you what you want to hear. And if you are asked it on the other side, it's a case by case, because you have to know who you're dealing with. You know, some people are very overly sensitive, and I really feel strongly in how you present information.
Yes.
If you want to be constructive and it's someone you care about, you know to think about your tone, the type of words you use, and if all else fails, use the sandwich method and just positive criticism, positive. Like, do it in a nice way. But yeah, I think if your partner is asking for honesty, then it's best to be honest with them, but keep in mind the best way to talk to them about it. And if you're asking for honesty, keep that in the back of your mind. Like, okay, the way I react to this, if I hear something that I don't like, is going to set the tone for how they choose to be honest with me in the future. So if you do get pissed off, then take a breath and just be like, okay, and remind yourself, okay, I asked for honesty, didn't give me what I wanted to hear, but maybe what you wanted to hear was not what you needed to hear.
True.
And so it's just a matter of kind of knowing the position you're putting yourself in. And again, if you get super angry and you feel like you're going to pop off, maybe just walk away for a second.
Yeah.
Just be like, okay, like I appreciate your honesty and I just need some time to like think about what you said.
And that's okay too, to like
to just
to
say
know
it.
yourself well enough to know you need to take time. It's not the silent treatment, it's not any of that. It's like, this is just my process. I need to do this. But we actually have a friend who would be so scary to her boyfriend when they would like fight or things, that he just would bottle things up so much that at one point he just exploded, and like it actually ended up getting physical because he was so afraid every time of their fights, like that he would say the wrong thing and it would become worse than it already was. He just like pushed it way down and it ended up being way worse. So, right. So like, you don't want to be that person that somebody's afraid to talk to. You want to be open and receptive. And I think that's just the general concept with being in a relationship. You should both have each other's best interests at heart, obviously, if you want to be with each other.
Right. And I think it even goes back to, you know, we always talk about communication is key and all of that, but you need to, with your partner, talk about what communication or good communication looks like for you. Because I think we generalize the term and we have our idea of what good communication looks like for us, and then we don't discuss it with them. And you guys can have totally different interpretations. So for me, it's like, well, it's us talking every second of every day about everything and blah, blah, blah. And to them, it's like, just, you know, checking in here and there. And so it's really even going down to the root of everything, which is communication, and being like, okay, I appreciate when you are honest with me, even if it's not what I want to hear. I'd rather hear it from you than hear it from someone else.
Or guess about it or make interpretations or whatever.
Or, you know, if it's something important and you choose to not respond, then that makes me feel neglected. You know, whatever it may be, just so you're both on the same page, and then you can build from there.
Yeah. I think like
mic drop.
It is so important to not generalize. Like, communication is so important, because then people are like, people use that blanket statement like, well, sorry if you think I'm a bitch, but I'm just being honest. Like, I'm just communicating. Like, no, that's not, you can't do that. You can't generalize this. Like, everybody's different. You're 1,000,000% right. Like, know your audience.
And you don't have to be a bitch to be honest.
No, not at all.
Right, like it's how you present it, like what you were saying about tone. Like, there's ways to say things and you can soften things. And like, listen, if your girlfriend asks you, do I look fat? You're never going to be like, yeah, you fucking look fat, you will. No, you're going to say, you know what? Why don't you wear this? It's like super flattering. You have like a way to approach it so you don't hurt the person's feelings.
Absolutely.
That's not the goal, unless you're an asshole.
I always say, and it's true, you have to be fat to look fat, first of all. And like, if you do, I always say,
you've said that to me before.
You are, and who cares if you are or not? I'm just saying, if you're asking me that, you're like, you have asked me that before, just in a generalized term, and I'm like, well, first of all, not the case. But if I think something's more flattering on you, I will say like, this looks better or whatever. But like, I just think it's kind of like an ignorant thing to just, like you were saying before, like pop off and be very reactive, or go into a conversation without knowing what you're really going to get from the end result. Meaning, like, I'm asking you a question, but like, I'm also involved here too. So I'm not just like waiting on your response. I'm also need to be aware that I'm going to react. So there's a whole big picture. And I think that people who generalize communication don't look at the big picture. They're just like, and then they make excuses for why it went wrong. Well, I just did this, or I'm just being honest, or you asked me, or whatever. And it's not, just dig a little deeper, I think, is the lesson here.
Be a golden rule, not my rule, but you know, it might as well be
a golden rule.
A golden rule is do unto others as you would have others do unto you. And so if you want information presented a certain way to you, think about their feelings when you're doing said thing. Now, speaking of bigger picture, the problem with dating, is there one? Are there many? Tell us about it.
I feel like there are many. Well, okay. Here's the gist of that. There are many problems with dating. And if you wanted to talk about what they could be, I mean, there's so many things varying from like just the digital boom, dating apps, so many options, you can't make a choice, all this stuff. But I feel like the root of all of that is a problem with people. And that is that people nowadays are just in a space where they don't feel like it's necessary to invest in one person. They don't feel like it's necessary to value integrity. It's not even a thing anymore because we're given these platforms to just do whatever we want to do and look at people as though they're disposable and make it seem like a game and like it doesn't matter, which you can't blame the platforms for. It's just technology, and it's showing people's character by the way they handle it. So I feel like people just need to go back to basics and think about, okay, what do you want? If you do want to just have a hoe phase and go be liberated, fine.
Do it.
But also be honest about that.
I completely agree. There is nothing wrong with being like, I just want to be single and have fun and do whatever that looks like for you.
Right. I respect a guy so much more if up front he's like, listen, I'm just trying to bone. Like, I don't want anything serious. And then I can be like, cool, I know where you stand. Versus, let me reel you in and make you feel like I'm super into you. And then the second you get what you want, poof, you disappear. It's like, just fucking tell me from the get-go so I can decide if I want to be a part of this or not.
Yeah, because some people, other girls or guys or whoever is on the receiving end of this, they might be like, yes, that's what I'm doing too.
Yeah.
There's like nothing wrong with wanting what you want.
Right. Like if everyone was just honest and not deceptive, I think the world would be a better place because we'd all at least, it'd be like wearing a name tag. Like, I am Jen. That's not going to change. I'm not Jen.
I'm not Jen.
Right, you're not Jen.
But I think people
then say, I want a relationship. I am engaged.
And I
am whatever. Like,
women especially get, I think, freaked out about, maybe men get freaked out about saying, because we don't like to, I believe in equality and all that, but I do think that society, there are gender roles, and I think that they're just never going to go away, and I think it's just because we're different species, and I think that's just the way it is. But I don't know if they're as strong as some people think they are, but I think they exist. And I think that men are afraid to say, like, I just want a bone, because they feel like they're going to be judged like I'm a playboy or I'm a player. And I think women are afraid on the flip side to say, I want a relationship, because they're afraid they're going to, like, then you're going to call your girlfriend and be like, I went on this date with this guy and I told him I wanted a relationship and he didn't call me back. And what's your girlfriend going to say? That's because you came on too strong. You should have played it cool. Don't text him back so fast.
I hate that friend.
Oh,
me too.
It's like,
I want to kill that friend.
but it's like, why? You know what I mean? Like, there's these stigmas behind being honest.
Totally.
Like,
However, now the dating apps, like some of them, you can put what you're looking for, which is great. So like Bumble, and Hinge, I think, I don't know about Tinder because I don't touch that thing with a fucking 10-foot pole. But
wait, which dating apps do you like, Bruna?
So I'm currently not on any.
Oh, okay.
Just because I literally tried almost every single one on the planet, and I was like, I can't.
But did you have one that you thought was like good for you and your the way you're wired?
Not really. I mean, they're definitely ranked. Bumble's up there because I like having the choice.
I liked Bumble when I was dating.
Yeah.
On apps.
And funny enough, I made some really great friendships off of Tinder. Nothing romantic, but just friendships. But everything else, like the worst was Match, which I'm like,
I agree.
You pay for this.
I agree.
And you're still going to be like trash like
I
this?
thought the matches were way off on Match.
They were off, and I don't like when it's like a free-for-all and anyone can message you.
Right.
I don't, because then it's like you're inundated with messages from
too
people
much.
that you would, like, no,
and then
thank
it becomes
you.
a chore, a weird, like, homework chore.
Right.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of creepy, so no.
Yeah.
But now I'm just kind of like, you know what, universe, do your thing. Let us cross paths at freaking Trader Joe's or wherever.
Cute.
I know, right? Going back to basics.
Yeah, I love basics. First of all, again, I'm sticking by the old-timey times. I think that needs to come back. Just like fashion comes back every 20 years. I think the 50s need to come back.
It's going to come back.
I hope so.
Again.
Sooner than later, please.
Time.
But going back to the apps, and they're like, now you can put preferences and things. So it's on you to select these things. But I've actually seen a lot of people write, they want marriage, they want a relationship. Like a guy might say they want a relationship, so they don't put marriage, and it'd be like, okay, I'm in your face now.
Right.
But a lot of them say they're looking for a relationship. I've seen some people say, like, I'm here for
DTF.
No, they'd be like, I'm here for something that's not serious, or I'm just here for casual, whatever. I just got out of a relationship. Like some people are honest and disclose it. It's almost like how on social media you have to disclose now if it's like a paid post.
Oh, yeah.
Like now people are disclosing these things more. I'm seeing it more regularly, but I'm with you on the old timey time stuff and meeting in real life.
And that's why you're a hopeful romantic.
I've had people recently be like, I need to set you up with somebody. Let me think. And like, it's come up a couple times where like people have set me up.
Yeah. But I enjoy that now you have to say what you want, which again, they could be lying about what they put.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, it's like, if you're worried about how you're going to be perceived by someone else as, oh gosh, now I look too needy or clingy or desperate or whatever, the right person for you is not going to think that, because you both are going to want the same shit.
Totally.
So why do you care? Like, who cares? You're being honest about what you want and you're cutting out. To me, it's a filter. If a guy sees something and is like, oh God, she wants a relationship, then cool. You're not ready for it. I'm not going to waste however many days, weeks texting back and forth with nothing happening because we don't want the same things.
Exactly.
So you said that now the problem with dating is actually the people themselves. So what do you recommend to people listening or watching to like do to actually become better people? Like you coach. Do you recommend getting a coach, a therapist?
I mean, that's a personal preference. It's definitely an investment, not just money-wise, but time and energy and everything that goes into it. I think the best thing you can do for yourself is really go inward and figure out what it is that you need to do. Think about patterns that are happening in your life. Don't discredit that you're the common denominator. Like, no one wants to point the finger at themselves, but frankly, that's usually the case. So take accountability for your actions and think about the type of partners that you're attracting, the type of partners that you continue to entertain, even though they're not it, and you know that.
Yeah.
And also, like we were talking about, honesty is huge. Be honest with your intentions. What do you want? Cool. Now with the people you meet, be honest about wanting that.
Yeah, you have to be honest with yourself first.
Right. And then also being strong with your discernment is a big one, which is if you are dating someone and you see the red flags and you know, or even just your intuition, your gut is telling you like, this isn't it, and you're like, oh, but no, maybe, like, stop. Like, what are you fighting? You're trying to prove something that isn't the case. So just know that and move forward and trust the process.
Now, where does forgiveness come into play in all this? Are you forgiving yourself, someone else,
both,
the universe?
I think a lot of us need to forgive ourselves for many things. And I think by forgiving others, forgiveness in general is just so powerful and freeing, because you don't even realize sometimes the weight that you're carrying.
Yes.
And how that can...
How do you... Sorry, you're to interject, because this is a big thing for me. What does that sound like for you? Like, if you were to say, like, not being able to forgive this person for doing this thing that caused me this feeling, how do I do that? What, like, for you, for example, what does that sound like for you? I do this, or I tell myself this, or because it will resonate with you personally, but like it could help, like I could see it in a different light. It could be like an aha moment for me to hear you say, I do this thing. I'm like, oh, because for me, I'm like, if I'm upset at something you did, I mean, yes, I know I need to let it go because it's not serving me and it's just making me angry, but like, I know all those things make sense, but like, how the fuck do... Like,
let it go is a really cute,
it's cute.
Like a cute statement.
It's totally cute.
But I need an action item.
I don't understand.
Great in theory, hard to apply.
Right. Like, what's the tangible?
Why let it go? Because you act like an asshole and now I'm just supposed to let it go? Like, that's not my fucking fault.
But who's suffering in that equation?
I know, but
you
are.
But how do you do it? Because poof, let it go?
Right,
or is there like...
Exactly. You click your heels and then...
Right.
No,
like, I know if I want to, like, add more greens to my diet, I buy more fucking greens. Like, let it go.
What's the action? Like, what do you do?
I mean, I wish there was a more tangible way where it's like, you do this dance and then it's all good and gravy.
Click your heels.
But it's really, it's really... Okay, personally, what I do, I really, really believe that there is a purpose in everything. So in situations that are not ideal or that I get hurt or feel some type of way, I really try to search for the lesson or what I took out of it. And I can always find one, regardless of how bad the situation was. And it's going to take time. Like, that's the other thing. So many people will say like, oh, it's done, I let it go, blah, blah, blah. And a year later, you're still bitter because you are not facing the issue and coming to terms with it. So learning the purpose, taking a look at the situation and asking yourself, what did I learn from this? What value did this have in my life? What role did this person play for me? Because they always do.
Yeah.
And then also keeping in mind what I just mentioned was when you are holding on to that anger, it's only affecting you.
Totally.
This other person usually living their life. Who knows? Maybe they're still affected, maybe they're not. But you know you are. And so your quality of life is already diminished because you keep holding on to this resentment and anger.
You're
for
letting
what?
them live rent-free in your head.
Exactly.
I love that.
Yeah.
And it's
that's
rude because rent is expensive.
And
Very.
yeah, and also pay me my money.
Right.
Bitch better have,
Have
my
my
money.
money.
So.
Wow.
Okay, I like that. No, honestly, that's a really good way. Like that does help to hear, because it is, again, it's one of those coined, generalized, just let it go. Like communication is key. Like all that's really cute sounding, but like what the
It's
fuck does it
trendy.
mean? Yeah,
Right.
it's like
Right.
what does it mean? Because until you tell me what that means, I'm gonna interpret my way, which may be great or maybe like an asshole, and then I'm going to project that onto other people, and people are going to react, and it's this vicious cycle, and it's like, stop the insanity, everyone.
Yeah.
Remember that woman? Stop the insanity. What was her name?
No.
Susan Powder. I think that's who. No, seriously, blonde shaved head. You don't remember her from the 90s? I'm older than both of you.
Sounds like Sinead O'Connor.
It was
That's
kind
who
of
I thought of right now.
Well, only because you said shaved head.
blonde, like dyed bleach blonde hair. Susan Powder, I think was her name, and she would be like, "Stop! There she is
On the
Stop
screen.
the insanity!" She was a fitness guru.
Oh, brother. She looks insane. But anyhow.
She was great.
So forgiveness is ultimately for you. So you can either proceed with a relationship of some sort and move on to the next part of the relationship and get over the thing, or you get over a past relationship and you let that shit go.
Or you forgive yourself too for
Right.
things that you might have done.
Oh, I have to forgive myself regularly for the choices I've
All
made.
the
Same.
live long
Same.
day.
And we hold on to our resentment for ourselves way longer, and we punish ourselves constantly.
Totally. That's like a big, huge one.
I'm actually more concerned with people that don't punish themselves at all. I'm like, have you no remorse? Hello? Have a get a
That to
mirror.
me is just
you
an
asshole.
inability. It could be an inability to self-reflect, and that is very frightening for me personally.
Terrifying.
You don't want to be
It is.
you don't want to blame yourself too much. Like that could be a dangerous fence to teeter on.
Yeah, it's definitely balanced, and it's different. It looks different for everyone. There's not like a one-stop shop for everyone to abide by, and it's going to work for you. And also closure, like the idea of what closure looks like, we have to let that go, because it's like you're constantly waiting for someone else
To validate
give you
close the door.
that ability. And really, you have the closure on your own from day one. But we keep, and usually it's like you just want to talk to the person again. So you keep saying like, I need closure. I need
Like
to
you
talk
need
to this
answers
person.
sometimes.
Sometimes you
But-
do, but it's not
But
guaranteed.
it doesn't
Right.
matter though, because think about the last guy you dated. No matter what fucking answer he gave you, it wasn't going to satisfy.
No, actually, none of them satisfied
Never.
me at all.
So
They were
it
actually
doesn't
the
even
worst.
matter. It's like it just made it worse.
And
You could have
in
been
fact,
like,
his worst answers made me have closure because I'm like, oh God, you're terrible.
Right.
You're terrible in handling this and everything else.
Yeah, so
you're
see?
so fucking terrible. That's my closure. I
There
don't
we
want
go.
you anyway, you terrible.
you had to find the
person.
lesson in
Your
there.
existence
Right.
is my closure.
Before we
Right.
wrap, so now you've made some choices in your dating and relationship life that I really value and think other people should think about too. You decided to give up sex
I did.
for a year,
Longer.
longer than a year.
So why did you do that?
Why did
And
you
what
do-
did you
yeah.
learn from it? Real quick.
So I did it because again, patterns. I was not enjoying myself with my sexual partners. I was feeling empty inside. I needed to reframe my view on sexuality. And I realized way after the fact that I had a lot of sexual trauma that played into the reason why I was showing up into these sexual experiences the way I was. So I was like, I'm taking it off the table. I just don't even want to deal with it. And that turned into almost 3 years of not having sex.
It's longer than a year.
Longer than a year.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Close to.
I did some of that just by happenstance,
Same.
but it's because I wasn't emotionally ready.
Right, exactly. And so I think through that time, it really reframed, how I view sex, how I view myself, how I view my body, kind of building body confidence and acknowledging that, femininity is sensual and sexual, and not to feel bad about that, but also just to be healthy about it and kind of leading that journey in a way that wouldn't make me feel bad afterwards.
be conscious of it. That's all. It looks different for everyone. Just be conscious of what and listen.
Of why you do what you do and how you relate to those things.
Being what we quote unquote call a hoe, and I say that with love because like who fucking cares? It's not a bad thing for me. But like if you're conscious of the fact that you're doing it, that's great. Celebrate it.
Right. You're only a hoe if you have shame. Otherwise, you're just having a good time.
Whatever. Or maybe you're a hoe. You want to call yourself a hoe because you think it's funny, and you're not a housewife. Fuck. Who cares?
Sorry.
Yeah, I think it's all night, about guys. Just being conscious of where you're coming from first.
Your intentions.
With everything we've just talked about tonight.
Yeah.
Now, if people want to continue talking with you because you have so much insight to share, they can obviously go to your website. Tell everyone where they can find you, coach with you, learn from you, meet you, the whole thing.
Yeah, so you can head to my website, www.brunanessif.com, BRUNANESSIF as in Frank. Also, lots of content on theproblemwithdating.com. That's my other blog website. I'm on Instagram, Bruna with 5 A's, like my report card.
Yeah!
I'm on Nerd Alert. I'm on Twitter, Bruna Nessif, and again on Instagram for the blog at Dating. Yeah.
Awesome.
Follow them
all over the place.
Her YouTube videos are so good. You feel like you're sitting down and talking to a friend.
Thank you.
She opens her mouth to talk, and you're like, yeah. I start talking back to them. I'm like, oh, she can't hear me.
I appreciate that because YouTube is very scary. It's a scary space.
You are very, very natural and great on it. So follow all of those things.
All of the things, and all of your posts on like social media, like your actual like memes and like quotes and things. Like that's how we learned about you, and we love what you had to say. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. Great way to kick off 2019. And don't forget to tune in next week for our guest, GFA. And don't forget to follow us on all the socials at Complicated Show. And where can everyone find you?
You can find me at Not Lauren on Instagram. Just kidding. Jennifer Golden. That's one N and one F for you weirdos on all the social media platforms. And Lauren, where can people
follow
find
me
you?
At Not Jen, a.k.a. at Lauren Lee Nelly on all the social medias. And we will be back next week. Like we said with GFA, have a great week, guys. See you soon.
Love you long time.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.